Hello everybody. Welcome back to the Blind Press YouTube and Twitch channels. I hope you're all having a wonderful Monday evening. Hello to Fury Kitten over on the YouTube side of things. I hope you're doing well. we are going to have a bit of an interesting stream. Gonna do some question period. And it's gonna be an interesting one because it's a bit of a long question period today. And apparently Trudeau's going to be on the Colbert Report. So or the late night show with Stephen Colbert or whatever the fuck it's called now. I'm gonna try to find it. And react to it, but they might hit me. So what I'll do is I'll find it and I'll watch it and I'll sum it up for you guys. So, yeah. Because what he's on, that's on NBC, right? The Late Show? They suck. They'll hit me. So, unfortunately, we won't actually be able to watch it. But yeah, he's going to be on the Late Show with Stephen Colbert because, you know, the country's going to shit. Everybody's fighting each other in the House of Commons. It's quite obvious that he needs to not be around anymore. But hey, let's go to New York and be on the Late Show with Stephen Colbert, right? Because that'll be hip. And with it. So, he's apparently also been on the General Assembly in the UN. Because I guess you've got to... I guess you've got to do some sort of political something or other. Oh, you're in the hospital, Blake Star. I'm sorry. That's no fun. I'm very sorry. Oh shit. We have an early tip. Let us see. I'm sorry you're in the hospital, Blake Star. Thank you. You did promise me some wine. Thank you. And because you promised me some wine, I will promise you some jumping jacks. Because we've just started the stream, so there's no momentum to disrupt. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, we'll make it even 34, 35. There we go. 35 jumping jacks for Fury Kitten. All right. Let's go. Whew. All right. So yeah, Trudeau is off to New York to play, I don't know what, TV guest person. I don't know. Like, why the Late Show? Yes. The ridiculously expensive condo. Yeah. $9 million condo. I wonder what the fees for that thing are. Ugh. A month, 10 to 15,000 a month. And I bet you that thing is empty most of the time. What a waste of money. What a colossal waste of money these condos are. Waste money. Huh. Ah, fascinating. That's interesting. Well, I heard the beginning of just before he says oral questions, questions orales. Fergus has a little bit of a pep talk for the house. He is. It is. That's exactly what it is. That is literally exactly what the little talk is. It's pretty sad. He's going to play dress up. Maybe he can cosplay as P. Diddy. Oh, fuck. That is, whew, boy. Hmm? Oh, did she? Uh-huh. That doesn't fit. Oh, yeah? It's a bit clunky. CBS, that's who. Oh, for sure they'll hit me. Fucking. Huh? No, CBS hates me. Yeah, 17 copyright claims on the non-copyrighted music, guys. Can you believe this? This is insane. This is like, and like tomorrow when, oh, tomorrow's gonna be an insane day. Oh my god. I've got paid content to create. I've got the non-confidence vote to cover. And I've got the freaking expansion drops tomorrow. So yeah, there are lots of things to stream tomorrow and do and busy. Okay, what are we going to do now? This article is refreshing on me like crazy. I did just cover. Right. So, before we get into QP, we're gonna look at this. We're gonna jump into some internet brain rot. That's what we're gonna warm up with. We're gonna warm up with some internet brain rot. So, first, she calls small fat women fat phobic. We were gonna do this last night, but I... Huh?
This is the cynical dude.
Ah.
This guy's actually pretty funny.
So this is a channel I don't think I've heard or I've visited before.
I just discovered him a few weeks ago.
Oh, okay. So I will have to hit the subscribe button. But let's take a listen to this video.
Hello, my friends, and welcome back.
Hello.
Today, we're going to be taking a look at a clip of a fat activist saying smaller
He's got a what?
fat women are fat phobic. They just want to fit in with the thins. We're also going to be taking a look at a few bonus clips from Tess Holliday, including one where she says that plus-size women are tired of not being able to find their size in store. The first clip is not...
lose some weight. If you wish to wear a tent, then make your own clothes. Otherwise, lose some weight.
Tess Holliday, but all the bonus clips are. Before we proceed, please click the like button so that I may apply comb to mustache. The caption reads, "Smaller fat women are delusional." I've been saying that for years.
The small fat woman, you gyrating and tap dancing on the internet for the compliments of skinny people is exactly what's making you fat phobic.
Wait, what? So if you're not if you're just a little bit fat, then and you're still capable of movement and freedom of body, then you're fat phobic? Okie dokie.
So I can't gyrate and tap dance?
A lot of smaller, curvier fat women love to put themselves on this pedestal so that they can gain access to skinnier people.
What?
Wait, what?
What are they gonna do with those?
They put themselves on a pedestal for skinny people. How does this work? This is crazy.
Skinnier people once they gain access to them. That's a very bizarre statement. By the way, she's speaking specifically about a beef that's happening between some kind of comedian and Samira, sorry, I'm always saying that wrong. Samira, the plus-size model or whatever, who's always going around demanding bigger sizes from stores. Apparently, the comedian told Samira, "Hey, stop going around and demanding bigger size clothes. Just lose weight." Obviously, Samira...
Oh no, don't say that to the fat woman. That's a horrible thing to say. They should always be allowed to need rolls or deodorant for their rolls.
Going around and demanding bigger size clothes. Just lose weight. Obviously, Samira's not very happy about that, and all of her followers are attacking this person. Let me know in a comment below if you would like me to cover that story. This person is a fan of Samira and is responding to the comedian that told her to lose weight.
On that girl that you wear 1X has the same exact tone of white people saying, "I have black friends." And
Oh, what? Back that up for me.
on that girl that you wear 1X has the same exact tone of white people saying, "I have black friends." And
Okay, so saying as someone who wears a 1X, you need to lose some weight. That's like saying I have black friends. Okay, no. That's not what that is.
I want you to know that. I'm a 1X. Do you know how hard it is to find a 1X in a store?
It's not hard at all to find a 1X in a store. What the fuck are you talking about? Do you know how hard it is to find a medium in a store? They're all fucking gone. Everywhere I try to go find shit for myself somewhere. It's all large, 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 extra large, extra large, small. Like, seriously, this is it's like they don't stock mediums. They either have clothes for midgets, little people, or they have tents.
You're truly a 1X. I'm asking you the same exact question you just asked her.
Okay, so the person that was giving Samira a hard time is a 1X.
What is stopping you from losing 100
My socks are black.
pounds overnight so that you can go up in Target and fit into a medium? Seems to me like we're all still fat sisters in Christ. And that's not even the funniest part of this beef to me.
Well, I think you're missing the point. The person said stop going around and demanding bigger sizes and instead lose weight. Your response is, what are you talking about? You're also big. You're almost as big as me. You're completely missing the point.
So one-sided. Like, Samara has not even attempted a conversation with you.
Oh yeah, Samira doesn't do online arguments. Well, she doesn't do them on her own. She'll just show a video of you talking or something, and then in the background she'll be like eating a sandwich.
That's what she does? She just eats while people talk? Okay, and here I thought picking up my knitting needles while these videos were playing would be a good thing to do. Maybe not.
And then all of her followers will go and attack
What?
you, like they did to Sam at every size. Samira never has a retort, ever. Here's a quick example, and it actually features that comedian.
I want to first and foremost say thank you to everybody who's been super supportive these past couple of days. I don't know what's going on that girl's page and why she's still dragging this situation. Then everybody that's coming on my page trying to defend her, y'all all look exactly the same. All of y'all look the same. Everybody look the same. I don't wear...
Everybody looks the same? Everybody's fat? Really? Okay. I didn't know that.
I wear a 3X. Just to be clear, I wear a 1X. So for everybody in the comments asking me where do I shop for my 3X at? I don't wear a 3X. I'm not knocking women who do wear a 3X. I don't wear a 3X.
Anytime I open this app, I'm seeing you respond to a comment or something.
Have you ever tried to find for a 28 waist for an adult male that doesn't think you're a 12-year-old? No. Hey, ghost dog. Ah. No, thank you. That's terrifying.
You've posted like 10 to 15 videos about this one subject. You can keep on with these think pieces for the rest of the week, but the fact still remains is that your double chin jiggles just like mine do.
Yeah, but she's not going around demanding.
So how is this not fat phobic? How is it not fat phobic to be like, your double chin jiggles just as much as mine, but it is fat phobic to be like, hey, stop demanding that stores sell tarpaulins instead of clothing and lose some weight instead. How come that's fat? Why?
And jiggles just like mine do.
Yeah, but she's not going around demanding stores sell bigger sizes to accommodate her.
Unless you have a plan of action to get us all into smaller sizes overnight, shut up.
Overnight?
That was a weird way to wrap that up.
Overnight, eh? Yes, because weight loss happens like that, right? Just in a snap of a finger. Just overnight.
So she can tell you guys to all stop complaining if she has a plan to get you all into smaller sizes overnight. Okay. Alright, so like I said, I think this person completely missed the point. If you can't find your size in the store, the thing to do is not to go around demanding that they sell bigger sizes. The thing to do is to work on yourself. This person's response, you are also large. Next, caption at the top reads, plus size customers are tired. I bet. Do-do-do. Shh. So
Poor customers. They must be exhausted. Although not for the reasons you may think. Alright.
sorry.
That was funny. I'm sorry.
Imagine the uproar it would cause if
Wow. I love that shirt.
plus-size, thick, curvy girls got out there and loudly and proudly and very wrongly shouted that skinny folks don't deserve to have clothing.
What? Nobody's saying fat people don't deserve clothing. They're saying that maybe if you are too big to fit into the largest of the offered clothing anywhere, perhaps it is time for you to subtract some weight from yourself. That doesn't mean you have to turn into a skeleton. It just means that perhaps, maybe, just maybe, you shouldn't be that big. Like, there is a middle ground. You don't need to be a Hut or Jack Skellington. Okay? You can be in the middle. Alright? That is a thing that is possible.
That would be weird.
Imagine if we had cut all of the access to smaller bodied individuals having clothing.
Well, you're saying that as if we've cut all access to larger bodied individuals from having clothing. We haven't.
And we took it all. And we dressed and adorned ourselves however we wanted.
It's not her fault
at whatever.
She's fat. It's society's fault. The society that produces peanut butter, cookie dough, pizza, ice cream, cream donuts. Nobody ever got diabetes from eating a salad. That's true.
Whatever budget we could imagine. And we said, ha ha ha, you guys get nothing. Imagine the uproar.
Yeah, that would be weird. I get the analogy that she's trying to make here. She's trying to insinuate that thin people have taken away all the clothes from the larger bodied people, which is not the case. The larger people have actually made themselves incompatible with average sized clothing.
They've even made themselves incompatible with, like, the larger plus-sized clothing. They've gone so large that, like, 3X, 4XL is, like, too big. And they're like, I need bigger! And the stores are like, no. No, okay, fine. But you're gonna pay more. Why? Well, because we're using more material. I don't care! That's fat-phobic of you to point out that you're using more material.
Nobody took the clothes away from you. You kept getting bigger and bigger until you no longer fit into the clothes. You didn't come out the womb too big to fit into clothes.
But because it's reversed, and it has been happening to the plus size girlies.
Okay, so you guys had access to all of the clothing that you needed, and then these thin bastards,
Start your own
these
clothing
skin...
line or work on yourself. There are really no other options that should be considered. Nope. I can't find clothes in adult sizes that fit me, so yay for knitting. I'm trying to learn how to knit. I'm trying to make
Skinny
a
minis
practice
came
stuff
along
right
and
now.
took it away from you.
And the curvy community for so long. And because being fat and being plus size is tied to morality
It is?
and to health,
Well, yeah.
where does it leave us?
Of course size is tied to health. It's not tied to morality. Like, you're not an immoral person because you're fat.
Same place it has always left us. Begging for a crumb.
Dude, really? You want me to make some kind of stupid joke right here, huh? You've been begging for a crumb this whole time. You must be pretty good at begging. Do-do-do! Shh! I'm sorry.
That's actually pretty funny. I like that.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for that. One of these days you'll get that crumb, I'm sure. I mean, one of these days somebody will allow you a crumb. Because you haven't been having any thus far at all, ever. You've never actually had a crumb of anything before, huh? How long can this weird-ass little segment go on? I don't know, Tess. The balls...
Even if I was skinny, I would have to order clothing online because clothing is made for fucking midgets. Let's see. I can see the morality issue is aligned with gluttony and sloth.
Balls in
That's
your court.
True.
Sister. I'm
Good
sorry,
point.
don't cancel me. Don't cancel
I
me
like
like you
this
did Leo
guy.
Skeppy. I'm sorry, man. I don't want to end up in the Adriatic Sea like you did with him. I'm sorry, things are going off the rails here.
And you guys crying and hollering.
Okay, so the rest of us would be breaking down crying and stuff if we had limited access to clothing just like the plus size people.
Or people would just band together and make new clothes.
Couldn't handle it. And furthermore, why did all of you thin mints take away clothing access from Tess Holiday? What are you doing? Like I've said countless times, if you keep getting larger and larger with each passing year, it is you that is making yourself incompatible with average-sized clothing.
Yeah.
Nobody took away your clothing. Next. I believe this comment is in response to the video that we just watched.
Okay.
And it says, I thought you modeled and worked with Torrid though. They're one of the main perpetrator of us having subpar clothes at ridiculous prices.
Oh, are they? Torrid is responsible for fat people having plus size clothes at ridiculous prices that are subpar?
You're right, I did. And that was, gosh, like 9 years ago. It was a long time. And at that time, I was excited to work with them. I didn't love everything that I wore. I voiced that numerous times. And
Okay, I'm surprised that they never called you back.
a lot of these brands don't like it when you are loud and when you are vocal. The reason that they make the skull prints and the safety pins and the cold shoulders and the florals and yada yada is because they believe that their core fan base, which is like Midwest, whatever, that's what they love and that's what they wear and that's...
So Torrid sells a bunch of cold shoulders and skull floral prints and stuff? Okay, is this why I always see such bizarre outfits among fat activists?
Yes. Yes, it's gotta be. It's gotta be that.
Skulls and floral prints and what the hell's a cold shoulder? Is that when there's like no fabric right here and you
Yes. I have a cold shoulder dress actually. It's a knitted dress and it's got like kind of like knitted frills over the shoulders, but there's no fabric right here and right here. And then there's long sleeves under after that.
you can see the shoulder? I'm getting all kinds of off-the-wall mental images here, man. I'm not much of a fashionista, if you will, but that sounds pretty crappy, honestly. I'm sorry.
Midwest, whatever, that's what they love and that's what they wear and that's what they buy. But I think where the disconnect is a lot of these brands don't realize, I think they realize, they don't care, that we are buying it because that is what is available. And if
So maybe if you guys stopped buying it and just like banded together and made your own shit, then they would make better clothes.
and if
They're only buying it
Imagine
because they
the
could
free
fit into it,
market
not because
idea.
they like the
Isn't that
style.
crazy?
Who the hell wants to wear skull floral cold shoulders, man? What the...
you are in the Midwest
Oh, wow.
or another location where you do not have easily accessible stores that you can just go in and shop, then obviously you're going to shop at whatever is local and near to you, and you're going to buy whatever.
Do they know how sexy a sarong is? Skinny or tubby? Walking around in a gauzy sarong makes every lass sexy. Yeah, if you can get a nice sarong, they're not
is available.
bad.
It is so much harder for plus size people and everybody to cultivate and have their own styles when we are not given the same opportunities as other people to create our own style at a budget that is appropriate for a lot of us. I could talk forever.
All right, so more complaints that the sizes aren't big enough for us. What happens when we make bigger clothes and people just continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger? Do we keep making bigger and bigger and bigger clothes with each passing year?
Yes. Just keep making it until it's the size of a circus tent. That's what we need to do.
What size do we need to get to where we stop complaining about not finding our size in store and see it as a red flag? Have you ever seen somebody on my 600-pound life complain about clothes? They have much bigger concerns, pun intended. Next, caption at the top reads, I love this little life.
Do you know I will never,
Your face is very shiny.
ever get tired of the work that I am able and grateful to do. To hand it to me and I see your face And she goes like this, and she's like, are you Tess Holiday? And I said, yeah, I am. She's like, oh my God, it's so nice to meet you. You've helped me so much. And she just says a bunch of really nice things. And it is impossible after that to have a bad day.
Well, of course it's impossible to have a bad day after somebody, like, kisses your ass and inflates your ego. Like, seriously. What do you expect?
Okay, so you love the work that you do because a fan recognized you and started giving you a bunch of compliments and telling you how great you are. I love when people do that to me too, honestly. I'm not gonna lie. We don't have to make it out to be something deeper than it is, though, right? We all just like compliments. That's all that is. You didn't change the world for the better because this delusional nutcase put you on some sort of pedestal and looked up to you, right? I love how we think that we're changing people's lives when we were just a model. You know what I mean? You've changed my life, Tess Holiday. The way that you wore a dress that one time.
Yeah. The way that you walked down that runway. In that dress, that was amazing.
Like, what? If me wearing a dress completely changed your life, you might be an idiot. Sorry.
Impossible, even if I wanted to try. And it just makes me feel so full of love that no matter where I'm at in my life, yeah, maybe I'm not like walking down runways as much as I was, or I'm not taking photos as much as I was because some of my work looks a little differently now.
What? What does that mean? Because some of my work looks a little differently now?
Does that mean you got even bigger so that modeling agencies won't take you?
You fell off, Tess Holiday?
I know that I still have made an impact in that person's life.
Wow, you're really fluffing yourself up here, huh?
She is.
You were a
Holy
model for money, so this is honestly a bizarre display. You think that you're turning people's lives around because you modeled. If you actually help people and they thank you for that, that's one thing. But if you just stand there and then people are so mentally ill that they're like, oh my God, you turned my whole life around. Oh, I never knew how to live my life until I saw you. Like, it's very clear that that person might not be all there. You know what I mean?
No.
If they see you just existing wearing a dress as some sort of inspirational symbol, then that person is likely dealing with a lot of emotional and mental problems.
Agreed. I would agree I think it's very telling if somebody just, oh my God, you modeled and you've made my life so much better.
And that just fills me with so much joy. And I wish that I could have told little me and even teenage me and even 20-something-year-old me and even the me now, I'm saying this to me too, that all of it matters. Like, it matters. And the fight that I was fighting.
What fight were you fighting? You sold some clothing that said F your beauty standards.
What?
But you were just selling clothes, though. You took advantage of people's insecurity and sold them some products. That is all.
Feeling like I didn't belong in my skin, and I didn't see anyone that really looked like me at the time when I was coming up.
More superficiality?
And now being able to see so
what is
many...
this whole I didn't see anybody like me? What is that? Why do we need that? Like, I don't like Star Trek The Next Generation because there's a blind guy in it. I like it because it has good stories. I don't like... I didn't watch The Little House on the Prairie because Mary went blind. Why do people need to be fucking represented so badly in television now? Like, when I read The Lord of the Rings, you know what I didn't think? You know what this needs? A blind elf. What the? Why?
Many people that are so diverse in fashion and looking around the world and noticing that I've helped impact that in some small way.
What? So you think that you started the whole plus size fashion thing. Wow, man. Okay.
When you're a chubby farmster, it's probably best not to film a portrait video when you can't fit into the frame when you're 5 to 6 feet away from the camera. Oh, shit.
Means more than I can even put in this TikTok.
Whoopsies!
So that's all. That's the story. I don't know how this ended up being 2 minutes, but I love you guys.
Okay, so if you give Tess Holiday a compliment, she'll feel good for like several days afterwards. I'm not saying you shouldn't feel good if somebody's like, oh man, you really helped me turn my life around or whatever. But like I said, a lot of people are just looking up to people and trying to live vicariously through them.
Yeah.
And if you've done nothing to help people, but they're still putting you on a pedestal, those people might not be all there. You know what I mean? Like if I just walked down a runway and then people start...
I mean, like, that's partially why I deleted the TikTok. Because I had all these people just like, oh, you're so beautiful, you're so inspirational, you're this, you're that, blah, blah, blah. Like, first of all, I'm not any of that. And second of all, like, nobody wanted to leave TikTok. I'd be like, hey, come over to my YouTube or my Twitch. What's a Twitch? Or, I don't do YouTube. Or they'd come over and this is boring. You're not talking to chat enough. Where are your kids? Where are your kids? Why are you not talking to chat enough? Why aren't you just sitting and staring at the camera waiting for the next chat comment? It was like, and listening to Tess that just now, it's just like, holy shit. Like, it's crazy, like listening to that. And like, I do need to post more shorts though, and more Instagram. Like, it's stupid because all the shit I was posting on TikTok, I've just kind of stopped posting on shorts, so I need to do that. But still, it was like, let's see. You're a human worth hanging out with isn't enough? Nope, apparently not. You are stunning and brave, bearing in mind you have a shortened lifespan and upcoming very painful health problems, right? Her health issues are gonna be awful. Like, oh my god. Alright. We're gonna move on to our next fun video before QP called Operation Beeper. Operation Grim Beeper. That's what we're going to look at now. And I'm guessing that it's Nick that did this video. No?
Warning. Images and video have been edited to censor and remove
It's Angry Cops.
Warning. Images and video have been edited to censor and remove offensive material to include violent acts and injury.
Good. Good job, AC. Good job.
Well, I'm sure you've seen the memes, I know I have, and heard the news that Hezbollah is having a little bit of a communications issue right now.
A little bit of a communications issue. That is something that is an understatement of epic proportions. That's hilarious.
Can you hear me now?
And the 1990s have called because the beepers that they got, yep, people are using beepers and pagers in Hezbollah. Well, they're getting a little hot. So hot that they're exploding in people's pants and hands and by their faces. And right now, the number of those injured are surpassing 2,800. So significant.
Jesus.
But how did we get here? How did we get to this end result of this, I would say, largest successful clandestine operation against a terrorist organization? Well, don't.
That is true. This is a very large operation, and it's working, and it really is. Like, I don't know very much about intelligence, but... Pardon? No. That's funny.
Well, don't worry, that's what you got me here for, because in this video, we're gonna break down what started this entire thing and the planning that went behind it, how it was put into effect, and some of this is gonna be a little bit of hypothesizing because not all the information's come out yet. Then the actual operation in and of itself, where the kinetic actions were happening, the pows, the booms, the zings, the zangs. And then we'll all clean that up very nicely with the aftermath of what we're figuring out now, what this could mean in the future. And in case you skipped the disclaimer, yes, I might have made sure that this video is YouTube safe and took out all the gore and no blood and none of the negativity stuff that would make me demonetized.
Aww. So you took out all the fun.
But there are going to be some implications. But before we get any further, first, a word from this video's sponsor, HelloFresh. HelloFresh is here to kickstart
Yep.
your delivery from week 8. So click the link in the description or use my code to get 10 free meals and free breakfast for life. One breakfast item per box while your subscription is active, if you're inside the US. Outside the US, the local discount will apply. Well, you know, the best place to start a story is kind of, well, Quentin Tarantino, where you know a little bit at the end, but then you go back to the beginning, and then you pass that part that you started at, and then you go even further into the story.
What? Say what again?
Say what again?
Say what again?
But here we're going to start at the very beginning, okay? I'm talking 2022. You see, the leader of Hezbollah, this guy with the beard and the funny hat, he put out to his minions, his little subordinates in Hezbollah there, hey gang, listen, all of you need to get off the cell phones, throw them in a box, dig them in the dirt and bury them, because the Israelis are looking into stuff like that, all right, technology and things. We need to cut it out. Don't let
Go back to the 90s, everybody. The Israelis are looking at the smartphones.
them track us. And so everybody does. They moved to a lower level technology that they thought would be somewhat impenetrable. The beeper. And that also evolved into using encrypted communications or encrypted radios. Those will come up later. Trust me. And now this blast out to the masses, well, it wasn't exactly private, and the Israeli intelligence unit called Mossad, they've done some incredible things, and they're
So the Israeli intelligence unit picked up on this little email blast, shall we say.
going to continue to do some. Well, they found out and decided they would start planning. All the way back to 2022, Mossad had already purchased a couple beepers and put a little bit of spicy powder in those things. Not talking about your booger sugar, I'm talking about the skaboom kind of powder. Gave it a couple trial runs. And honestly, looking back into a certain helicopter crash with an Iranian official, I'm wondering if a run-through wasn't already done.
Huh. Interesting hypothesis there, angry cops. I did not consider that.
Did an angry meme review on it, but this guy ended up dying in a helicopter accident and nobody really knows why. Well, there happens to be a pager, a beeper right there on the table right next to him. Wouldn't it be strange if a radio or beeper that had some high explosive in it were detonated while he was flying in a helicopter? It's kind
surely would.
of just a one-way flight down if something bad happens. Some would say that's foreshadowing.
And the business.
Get out of here, Count Dankula!
That's true.
Now that's what I like to call the planning stages, all right? We heard something happen, we got ready for it, we did a little test trial, potentially dry run, not so dry, on that Iranian guy.
Yeah, he went kaboom.
Now it's time to put this plan in action. Phase 2. Now, after reading about 3 hours worth of articles, I found that this is the best concentrated version of how Israel put their plans into place. With Israel already knowing that Hezbollah is going to need a lot of beepers,
Yes.
they create 2 shell companies that somehow, and this is still unknown, interact with the Apollo Gold Beeper Company and its shipping center in Hungary, so that while in transport between these 2 places, the original creation and the transportation hub, they're able to take apart over 5,000 beepers that were ordered at a minimum, fill them up with a high explosive near the battery compartment, so when they hit their whoop red button of uh-oh, it'll send off a signal, the individual will pick it up and look at it, and then it will detonate.
What the fuck? How the fuck did they do all of this? This is insane. How did they manage to be like, hey, Apollo Gold Beeper Company and shipping company, we've got to intercept these beepers and make them boomable. Can you help us, please? And to think that just via signal registration, you can triangulate to within about 25 meters.
Cacao! And as of right now, Apollo Gold and that Hungarian company, it's BAC something, are blaming each other and saying, we didn't do either one of these things. It had to be the other guy.
And Mossad's just sitting there going, it was a good thing. It worked. Yes, it worked.
I didn't do
But what I find the most impressive is that the Hezbollah agents were actually delivered all of these intentionally faulty, booby-trapped beepers. And
I don't know if you guys just heard those 2 pops, but that was my hip.
I don't know who ordered these beepers or their radios, but the radios that Hezbollah ordered are no longer manufactured.
Oh.
Red flag there. Let me break that down
does that
for you.
work?
The Icon radios that the Hezbollah agents, provocateurs, dudes, whatever you want to call them, were using is an older model that ICOM doesn't make anymore and hasn't made for some time. So these were knockoff ICOMs that they must have bought in bulk from like some guy selling it on eBay. So for those of you having a difficult time grasping it, and you younger generations, imagine going on eBay and buying a brand new Pokemon Yellow Game Boy game, right? You know that that thing is a knockoff. It's for $5. If it was an original
Will I be streaming the Chaos Story expansion? I sure will.
Pokemon Yellow game cartridge for a Game Boy, shit's like, I don't know, $500.
In fact, after QP, if it's not super duper late, well, actually, I don't know. I gotta finish the first part of the story again.
I have no idea.
Well,
I have no idea.
definitely
But you get
streaming
what
the
I'm
story
saying.
expansion.
You know it's a knockoff. How is this Hezbollah group guy, the quartermaster of
I am-
Hezbollah, not going, Icom radios? Okay, they're like 20 years old, 15 years old. Oh, look, such great deal. They say brand new. No red flags here. Cook, cook. You got...
Yeah, how does that work? How does that work? How does that work? Come on, guys. I don't know this shit, and even I would be like, But yes, I definitely will be streaming the Chaos expansion. I am terrified for how big the fucking game update's gonna be tomorrow. It's gonna be a fucking update to rival Call of Duty. Oh my god. It's gonna be huge. Holy shit. It's gonna be big.
You guys there? Pow!
But
packing up.
I've got a lot to stream tomorrow. I'm probably gonna start the just chatting stuff a bit earlier so I can stream it.
Enough explosives in a handheld radio
I don't know what else to do.
bring down a
Gary.
helicopter.
My hip is so
I'm gonna keep
fucking
saying it.
bad.
I think that. Yeah.
Sometimes.
So now that we have the amount of information put out by the head of Hezbollah, some poor quartermaster ordering, and some ingenuity
But I
on
have
behalf of the
physiotherapy
Israelis,
now.
we now have the perfect plan set up for Operation Beeper. Now let's
Okay.
get into the execution of the operation. Ooh, execution is probably a very appropriate word.
Just a little bit on the nose there, AC.
Wednesday, September 18th, 2024. Random small explosions are happening all throughout Lebanon, injuring people. People's pants are exploding. People's backpacks are exploding.
God damn it, I hate when my pants and my backpacks explode. Especially my pants. That's very frustrating.
People are showing up to the hospital with their fingers gone, their faces bloody, chunks of their stomach removed, and their legs like bleeding profusely. What is going on? Well, Operation Beeper is well into effect, and everybody's beepers are going off, sending them a notification saying, hey, Hezbollah guy, somebody from Hezbollah wants to talk to you.
Yes, there is a message for you, Mr. Hezbollah person. There is a message.
A guy hears that beep, picks up the beeper, looks at the notification.
Boom.
Cacao! Hand, face, no longer an issue. They're but things of the past now.
Problem solved, problem staying solved.
And in the first day, the low numbers were saying 1,200 people were affected.
Jesus.
That's just Wednesday. Because Thursday, the day after, a whole bunch of radios start blowing up all over the place. And like we've already seen, beepers, a little smaller. Handheld radios, a lot bigger.
Yeah, bigger.
You can put a lot more bang for your buck in them there handheld radios. And over the course of these 2 days, we're getting a whole bunch of videos. People shopping, putting a beeper down at a table while they're at the register and it, boom, blowing up. Which I think is one of the most important videos that you can see because it shows you the small amount of explosive inside that beeper and how effective it is.
Yeah, you don't need as much, like, I can tell you this just from listening to people talk about explosives. You don't need a lot of explosives to make a big boom.
The amount of power stored in the explosive that's inside
What?
that beeper is significant. And you see it in this security camera footage from the store when it detonates while it's sitting on top of the counter. But there's more.
God.
There's photos of a guy on a moped and his whole freaking side is blown up.
Oh,
Looks like
God.
somebody took a shotgun to his freaking butt cheek because half of that thing is missing. There are people in hospitals that are clogging up emergency rooms with fingers missing, hands all torn apart and degloved, faces smattered with freaking
Degloved
shrapnel
fingers?
and bloody.
Ugh.
Only 12 people have
Ugh.
lost their lives over the past 2 days, but that number could rise. Over 500 people have lost their eyesight, and oddly
Holy
enough, they're
shit.
taking a lot of them and putting them on a plane and sending them to Iran so they can get more medical treatment. I wonder why they're doing that. Oh, that's right. I almost forgot. Iran funnels money into Hezbollah. It's
Yep.
like their own private, but not private. Do your own thing, like ghost hand of their military to go terrorize Israel and whoever else they want. And we'll talk more about that in a little bit. Now, radios and beepers aren't the only thing that's blowing up. No, there's a couple fingerprint devices, like fingerprint scanners to get into buildings, fingerprint
Interesting.
locks. I don't know what you would call them, but anyway. Finger scanning into buildings, these security measures have also detonated, and so have some solar panels
Oh.
I really don't know what the hell's going
How
on
the
here.
fuck are the solar panels blowing up? I guess so. All of it must go.
Here with that, but this leads me to a bigger question that I think is super important. Was
Crazy
Israel,
how
Mossad, I'm
Memphis
assuming,
Kaboom.
able to get information from those beepers? If you already have the technology inside the beeper to send a signal for it to detonate, could you not also have it forward the information that was sent originally to that beeper?
Yeah.
So, head guy in charge of Hezbollah sends out the beeper message to his boy. He gets it down here, looks at it, says, Roger that, I'll do that. But simultaneously, it redirects a mirror image of whatever that Hezbollah agent guy got to Israel. So they can be like, oh, hey, they're having a meeting at the pizza shop again. Gosh, you know what? They really want to kill us, but their food is amazing, isn't it? Just...
Fucking AC, man.
seem like a bunch of guys trying to have a good time. And what about those radios? Were they able to listen to them in real time and start determining where guys are, what missions are going to take place, where they're hiding missile locations, when they're going to get bombed, so they can have their defenses up and ready?
This moron is giving me everything.
And what about the bioinformation in that fingerprint scanner locking Mabob security measurement, right? Before that thing exploded, what if it just took every single fingerprint and a photo of the person there and just confirmed, yep, this guy's a Hezbollah agent, oh, this guy's a Hezbollah agent, oh, this guy works for Hezbollah, and now they've got an entire catalog of people that thumbprint scanned into the building.
If anybody could do it, it would be Israel. I'm sorry if any country could pull that off, it would be Israel.
Identified them as Hezbollah agents? Hezbollah, you're in trouble! We're kind of already getting to the aftermath by talking about what information could have been shared or duplicated and sent to Israel from these beepers and handhelds and thumb scanning devices. So let's get right into the aftermath. The aftermath is that Israel has taken thousands of people out of a potential fight. The plan is brilliant. Hezbollah's buying these beepers so that only Hezbollah agents can talk to one another and intentionally not get tracked by Israel. So Israel messes with those beepers, which are then handed out to Hezbollah agents and Hezbollah agents only. Because guess who's getting the beep of, hey, go F up Israel?
Hezbollah agents.
Hezbollah agents. So besides all of the bio information that you get from thumb scanners and the information that could have been relayed back to Israel, everybody injured on the 18th and 19th of September in Lebanon from explosive injuries, you could just check in and see who was brought in that day from those explosive injuries and go, oh, Hezbollah agent, Hezbollah agent, Hezbollah agent. And now that person's got a name and a face on a watch list.
Bing bong. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. It's almost like the Palestinian state relied on Israel to provide everything. Yeah.
Well, maybe not a face anymore because holy crap. Let's talk about how brilliant it is to have it in a beeper. What do you do when your phone rings? Oh, who just messaged me? Boom!
Can you hear me now? Good.
Right like that, in the face. A beeper goes off, you take it out of your pocket, you unclip it from your belt. Even if you don't bring it up fast enough, it's putting holes in people's stomachs and their legs, or ripping off their hands and fingers. And best part is if they get it up in time to say, what? Shalom? Kaboom! It's taking out your eyesight. Like I said, an effective tool.
That's crazy. I wonder how many people are going to be like blind now and need like enucleations and shit from this. This is crazy.
Out of the 2,800 plus that are injured from these explosions, over 500 have lost their eyesight. Listen, you lose your eyesight, there's no way you're going to be in the game in a battle, which could potentially mean that there could be a military push into Lebanon or an attack more strategic against Hezbollah by Israel in the upcoming days. Now
that would make sense, because hit them when they're weak.
Remember how I said that Hezbollah is kind of a ghost hand of Iran? Iran funds Hezbollah to do their bidding, whatever they kind of want to do, as long as it's up what they want and jacking with Israel. Iran's going to toss Hezbollah money, and we already know that. It's not a secret, but we don't know exactly who, or at least it's not been super publicized of the direct chain of command from the Hezbollah minions to the higher-ups to then the main person that could be talking with Iran. Well, I think we found out a significant chunk today because the Iranian ambassador to Lebanon, well, he just so happened to have a beeper that exploded.
Oopsies.
Wow. So now we have a proven direct connection to Iran. Hezbollah hanging out, doing their thing in Lebanon. Top of the chain of command is Iran's ambassador to Lebanon.
Interesting. That's not a coincidence, I would say. I would say that's fairly pretty cut and dry.
And whenever he travels back and forth to Lebanon to Iran, to Lebanon to Iran, I'm sure he's got a wealth of information that he's passing on between those two heads of, hey, Iran, we need some money for these things. Look at what these guys are doing. And hey, Hezbollah guys, guess what Iran wants you to do? If you want this money, you're going to do that, right? Oh, and you've got more information about what's going on down there in Israel based on your shenanigans? Great, I'll pass it on to the big guy. See ya! With how overwhelmed the hospitals currently are because of this mass casualty, I would be very surprised if Israel didn't push further into Lebanon or send out some sort of strike, whether it be artillery or drone
That would make sense.
Aircraft, missiles, you name it. It would surprise me. Because at the moment, they've really got Hezbollah and Lebanon on its heels trying to react to this. Now, if you want to see the uncensored version of this, where there's a lot more blood and gore, and I go a little bit more in depth into this, check out Pepperbox. I got the link down there below. I'll always be posting stuff on here for free as long as YouTube will let me, but the uncensored, more gritty version with a little bit of extra material is always going to be on Pepperbox. Best way to support the channel is get yourself a shirt.
That is probably the funniest breakdown of what happened that I've heard so far. I think that's very, very funny. Let's see. Ha! Alright, I am going to do a be right back, grab some water, go to the bathroom, and I shall return in a moment for QP. So share that stream, and I'll see you in a moment. Okay. We are back. So, let's pop ourselves over to question period. And of course, Justin Trudeau will not be there because he is in New York. He's doing big boy things. And I think it's Andrew Scheer today. Pugsley. So here we go. We're gonna have Fergus give us a little bit of a talking to before we start. So here we go.
Colleagues,
Children.
chers collègues, the last time I was in this chair, there were a number of questions which were not relevant to the administration of government.
Get properly screwed, Fergus. Yes, they were
Words which fall outside of what's acceptable in the parliamentary parliamentary system, and there was behavior which was also outside of the parliamentary traditions. I'm hoping I will have more to say about this in the coming days.
Oh, will you? Oh my! Whoa. You will have more to say in the coming days. Oh, I shudder with anticipation.
But I hope that members will conduct themselves in a manner that is befitting of our constituents who have sent us here to represent them. Alors, chers collègues, jeudi.
Dear colleagues, last Thursday there were questions that were not germane to find way.
And time.
The Honourable Member for Regina Capel.
From Regina Capel. After 9 years of NDP Liberal government, taxes are up, costs are up, crime's up, and time's up. And Canadians.
I think I know where Polyev is. I think he's composing and getting the no confidence vote ready.
Are suffering. And the Liberals look around the country and they see tent cities popping up in our communities. They see millions lining up at food banks and families falling further and further into debt. And what do they think is the cause of all these problems? That Canadians aren't paying enough in taxes. That must be why they've already hiked the carbon tax 5 times and why they're going to hike it to 61 cents a litre.
I'm positively moist with expectation. Attention, les enfants.
How can making everything more expensive provide any relief for Canadians?
The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of Finance.
Mr. Speaker, I am glad that the Conservatives are finally talking about the economy.
They've been talking about it for years. What are you doing? What are you doing? Oh my God, I knew I should have gone to the...
Because it gives me a chance to highlight some good economic news we've had.
Oh.
Last week we learned that inflation in August was at 2%. In fact, for all of this year, inflation has been within Bank of Canada's target range. That means interest...
Target range. What is target range? Target range is such a broad term. Does that mean that the inflation rate has like a spectrum of where it's reasonable to be? Why isn't there like a hard number?
Interest rates are coming down. Meanwhile, wages have been outpacing inflation for 19 months in a row. But the Conservatives don't like to talk about that because good news for Canadians is bad news.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought the Liberal Party didn't like phrases and slogans. But they keep saying good news for Canadians is bad news for the Conservatives. Question. Would he answer anything that's a fuck off, they were approved questions? Why does she sound like a 12-year-old girl? How the hell do you make AI songs, Fury Kitten? Because those things are fucking weird.
Member from Regina Capel.
She can tell all the people lining up at food banks that they've never had it so good, and she knows that prices are not coming down. She also knows that her carbon tax won't stop a single forest fire or flood. They've admitted that. So Canadians get the brutal double whammy of all the extra costs associated with natural disasters, plus the carbon tax on top of it. And now the NDP leader is trying to pull off another stunt. He's trying to fool Canadians that he's got some new position on the carbon tax. In reality, he loves it. He's voted for it 24 times. If they're so sure that Canadians love their carbon tax, why don't they take it to the Canadian people and let them decide in a carbon tax election?
Because they know they'll lose and they don't want to lose. They don't want to lose their pension.
The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance.
Mr. Speaker, all these Conservatives know how to do is talk Canada down.
Talk Canada down, eh?
It's because they don't want Canadians to ask themselves what the Conservatives really stand for.
Right.
That's because the Conservatives have a hidden agenda.
Yes.
They have a hidden austerity agenda. And it is time for us all to ask ourselves, what would they cut? Would they cut childcare? I think so.
Yeah, they should cut childcare, because childcare is a provincial matter. And they should not be federalizing it. Just like, as a disabled person, I don't want a federal disability tax thing. I want legislation that forces the provinces to update the disability system. I want legislation that puts in place that if you're in a relationship and you're disabled and your partner's not, that you don't get punished for having a working spouse. And that punishes your spouse too. Because that puts the burden of everything on them. That's not fair.
Would they cut dental care? I think so. Would they cut our housing plan? There she would.
The Honourable Member from Regina Capel.
It's Canadians who are cutting back as they've seen their paychecks devalued.
Basically the only ones who don't get it. Workers, unions, companies, the regions, the experts all know that there's no future in the forestry industry.
That was a good seamless switch to French, but wow, that was jarring.
If we don't protect the forests adequately, no one but basically the only issue of whether it's mature worker or the development region of should be frail to ultimately.
Don't push random things.
How did it jump like that?
Jump where?
It jumped into French all of a sudden.
You're at 34 minutes in.
Harmful to our region. Writing.
I think so.
In recent the China was because not only the minister read the top 10, but that the Honourable Minister of Public Services and Procurement was to fall dollars.
Already received.
I see what happened.
Had they
For their friends and family situation.
Country or nation stands to
The Honourable Minister of Labour and Fresenius.
It jumped ahead.
Time is up and time is up.
Like a big jump.
We also increase.
Oh, I see what they did. They cut it mid. I see.
Remember, a couple of everyone is decide on the carbon tax and their
Sorry, guys.
collaboration. We're not the concern.
To correct himself.
So what happened was they chopped off the front end of the video right while I was watching it. So now it threw me like halfway through into the thing.
A very important
Carpenters and
Here,
The honourable member from Regina Capel.
It's Canadians who are cutting back as they've seen their paychecks devalued and prices skyrocket. But it's not just the carbon tax that the NDP and Liberals are hiking. The new tax hike that the government is announcing today will hit the middle class hard. In the middle of a housing crisis, they're raising taxes on carpenters and roofers. In fact, the Canadian Federation of Apartment Associations said
my mom is coming home soon from her.
this, quote, the capital gains increase will discourage the construction of new rental homes for Canadians. Why is the government's response to the housing crisis punishing the people who actually build the homes?
The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of Finance.
Mr. Speaker, I am really glad to hear the Conservatives talk about housing.
Is this scripted? Is this... No, I'm not talking about him. She just said the same exact sentence and replaced the economy with housing. She literally just... At first it was, I am very glad to hear the Conservatives talk about the economy. Now it's, I am very glad to hear the Conservatives talk about housing. That's sad. Yeah. Oh, I'm not going anywhere. And then that was the day where she's like, we cheer for them. For the Canadians.
Because last week we made a very important announcement on housing. Last week we announced that amortizations for first-time home buyers and everyone buying new builds will be extended to 30 years. That is going to help young Canadians make the dream of home ownership a reality, and it will get more homes built faster. And I am shocked that the Conservatives are opposed to this essential measure.
The Honourable Member from Mégantic-L'Érable.
Oh, he's a good Conservative member.
After 9 years of this Liberal Prime Minister, whom the Bloc wants to keep alive this week, the number of students in Quebec are ever more using food banks. The student federations have said it. Students find it hard to feed themselves. Over 80,000 went to food banks, 4 times more than 10 years ago. Instead of continuing to starve our students, will the Prime Minister and his Bloc Québécois lieutenant allow Quebecers to vote immediately to cut taxes for a common-sense government? The Honourable Minister for Public Services and Procurement.
Mr. Speaker, we will take no lessons from the Conservatives.
This is absolute nonsense, Mr. Speaker. The member says how difficult people are finding it to feed their children, how there's too many children who go to school on an empty stomach. Last week, his Conservative leader...
That's bullshit. The Bloc Quebec, or the Bloc lieutenant?
said that such ideas are bureaucratic, including in his own riding. It's bureaucratic to give children food so that they can't go to school on an empty stomach. The Honourable Member for Mégantic-L'Érable. I invite the Liberals to look at the situation in its face. The Bloc should flee because housing and food costs have doubled in the last few years. We're paying $1 billion in interest on our debt every week, all because of the $500 billion of inflationary spending that the Bloc supported. Everyone has been paying for this. Does the Prime Minister, supported by Le Bloc Québécois, understand that enough is enough?
No, they don't understand that enough is enough. They don't care. The Bloc doesn't care. The Conservatives don't care.
And that we can no longer afford his incompetence. The Honourable Minister for Public Services and Procurement. Let us talk about incompetence.
Oh boy.
Incompetence is stopping children from being able to eat in the morning. And stopping.
Yeah, Yeah.
MPs from supporting kids who have to go to school with an empty stomach. There are food banks in his riding. Will he go there to explain to them why it's bureaucratic to stop children from eating their fill in the morning?
Wow. We don't want a national food program at school. We want we want to fill our kids' bellies at home. We want to pack a good lunch for our kids. This is stupid.
The Honourable Member for La Prairie. The Liberals have a choice. They can correct an injustice to seniors by improving old age security for 65 to 74-year-olds. If they don't, well, they'll be solely responsible for causing an election. It's as simple as that. All retirees deserve support in the face of the rising cost of living, and this government is in no position to tell them they can't afford it. It has offered $83 billion in tax credits to oil companies, in addition to a lovely $34 billion pipeline. Now the Liberals have a choice. Seniors or elections?
That's crazy. This is, and it's true though. There are so many different things that are happening here that the Liberals are covering or are causing to happen. That we just like it's seniors they're screwing over. It's the middle class they're screwing over. It's everybody.
The Honourable Minister for Labour and Seniors. Mr. Speaker, this government has always chosen seniors. Unfortunately for our friends across the way, it's not always the case. Why have they voted against reducing the retirement age from 67 to 60, from 67 rather to 65? Why did they choose not to support the most needy Quebec seniors?
Because you guys keep sneaking shit into bills that the Conservatives actually read. And then they go, no, we don't want this bill to pass.
At every turn, the Bloc Québécois voted against. What about dental care? The Bloc Québécois voted against dental care, Mr. Speaker. The Honourable Member for La Prairie. Just a reminder, oil companies received $83 billion in tax credits, and there was a bonus $34 billion pipeline. Meanwhile, pensioners aged 65 to 74 are being deprived of 10% of their pensions. That's a lot of generosity towards multi-billion-dollar oil companies out west, only to then tell Quebec seniors, well, I'm sorry, you're too expensive. Clearly, the oil companies are a Liberal priority. Our priority is seniors. It is high time the Liberals put their priorities in the right place. Are they going to improve pensions for all seniors or trigger an election?
They don't care about seniors. My school worked on the basis that a well-fed kid is a well-behaved kid. We were well-fed plus responsible. We call it work.
The Honourable Minister for Labour and Seniors. I would like to invite my colleague, and I know that he wants to be specific in his words. We have never cut aid to seniors. Everything we've done, despite their opposition,
you've never cut aid to seniors.
All we have done is increase support for Quebec seniors and Canadian seniors. The Bloc has systematically voted against. I'd like to ask my colleague to correct himself in his statements. We've never cut in senior budgets.
The Honourable Member from Burnaby South.
Let's see if Jagmeet Singh sounds any better than he did on Friday.
$100 for a doctor's appointment. For-profit corporations like Loblaws are forced...
Colleagues, it's important for the person who has the floor to take the floor so that the Speaker can hear the question and making sure that they get a clear answer. The Honourable Member from Burnaby South.
$100 for a doctor's appointment.
Where and for who? What are we talking about here? Why are we, who is paying $100 for a doctor's appointment?
Private corporations like
The
Huh? That's true.
honorable member from Burnaby South.
$100 for a doctor's appointment. For-profit corporations like Loblaws are forcing pay.
Yeah. Like, I did have to, like, the prescription, I have to pay my doctor for any refills that I need. Yeah. Yeah. No, I have to pay for the actual fucking piece of paper. For the fax to go through the pharmacy.
Patients to
It's
pay.
not even an actual piece of paper anymore. I have to pay for them to send through the internet a prescription refill. I have to pay for 30 seconds of keyboard tapping. $20.
Pay to see a doctor. Now the Conservatives love this because their chief strategist.
Yeah. Here it is. Yep.
Jenny Byrne also doubles as a chief lobbyist for Loblaws. The Liberals promised a crackdown. That turned out to be a letdown. Why does the Liberal government continue to let big corporations rip off Canadians and stop defending and not defend our healthcare system?
The Honourable Minister of Health.
Well, Mr. Speaker,
Yeah.
the NDP had a choice. Continue working
A
on
lot of
pharmacare.
people have had COVID lately. Charlie has had it 4 times. Fucking.
Continue working on dental. Continue working to improve our health system, or to cave to a bully. And here's the facts, Mr. Speaker. If the NDP
How is it parliamentary to call Polyev a bully? And, like, how is that allowed?
can't stand up to the Conservative leader, then how are they going to stand up for Canadians? The reality is we're going to keep fighting to improve our healthcare system and work on the basis of collaboration. We're not going to cave to the bullying of the Conservatives across the way, and we're going to make sure that every Canadian gets dental care, pharmacare, and yes, to make sure that we revolutionize primary care.
Then I had
the honourable member for Burnaby South.
Again and again to big corporations that are ripping off Canadians, and they've not stood up to the Conservatives. Au Quebec.
In Quebec, the CSN says no profit on illness and sickness. We know that the Conservatives want to see CEOs enrich themselves upon the backs of the sick.
Wow. That's kind of a shitty thing to say.
But
and is it
it's
true?
very disappointing to see this from the Liberals. They promised to stop the privatisation of healthcare. They have failed. Is it because they're too weak to stand up to the Conservatives, or too beholden to CEOs?
Yes. That's my answer. Yes.
The Honourable Minister for Health.
Week is, Mr. Speaker, week is 2 days after the Conservative
That's a good question.
leader demands you stop action, to work with the government to help Canadians on health care, to run away. You know what else this week? To abandon climate action when the Conservative leader puts too much pressure on you. And I think Canadians
I know Jagmeet's been vaccinated against COVID many times.
should ask if the NDP is willing to stand up for them if they can't stand up to the Conservative leader. I will say to you that we are here each and every day to make sure that Canadians get what they need, to stand up for our public health care system, and to make sure the Conservatives don't get what they want, which is to cut to the bone our health system.
Cut to the bone! Oh, so dramatic. So very dramatic.
the honourable member from Stormont Dundas, South Glengarry.
After 9 years of NDP Liberals, taxes are up, costs are up, crime's up, and time is up. Here's how bad the carbon tax has driven up inflation in food costs in Toronto. The Daily Bread Food Bank says their monthly usage has gone from 60,000 to 350,000 people per month. That's a 480% increase. Pre-COVID, they spent $1.5 million per year on food. Today, $29 million. Their only solution is to quadruple the carbon tax to 61 cents a liter. Instead,
holy shit! $1.5 million a year to $29 million a year spent on food by that one food bank. That is nuts.
Instead, why don't we have a carbon tax election so Canadians can decide?
The honourable member for Families, Children and Social Development.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I'm thrilled to have the opportunity once again today to talk about.
Yes. Yes.
What's up, Mr. Speaker? I'll tell you what's up. Women's participation in the workforce is way up.
Oh, women's participation in the workforce is way up because, you know, before Justin Trudeau, it was like it was in the 1800s. No women worked. Unless they were like single or, you know, their husbands died or something. You know, it was like that before Trudeau. You know, there weren't any women working.
A record high. New childcare spots are being built, and that means 250,000 new spaces by 2026, Mr. Speaker. We know the Conservatives would like to cut these programs, but on this side of the House, we will fight for Canadians.
The honourable member from Stormont Dundas, South Glengarry.
The Liberals will make you think you've never had it so good, despite millions of Canadians having to line up at a food bank every month. And we just don't know how many more facts they need to see about how damaging the carbon tax really is. The trucking industry says it adds $4 billion a year. Farmers are going to pay $1 billion more in carbon taxes. And food banks in every part of this country are seeing skyrocketing use. And their own budget documents say it blows a hole of about $35 billion at least in the economy. Again, if they're so confident, call an election and let Canadians decide on the carbon tax for themselves.
Mm-hmm. But again, they won't. They won't.
The Honourable Minister for the Environment and Climate Change.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
How fucking much? Where the hell are they sourcing food from? Just local grocery stores. Before 2014, women were barefoot and pregnant. Fred is a fucking masked Nazi behind her.
Interest rates are down, inflation is down, gas prices are down, and pollution is down, Mr. Speaker. Pollution levels are at their lowest level in 25 years, Mr. Speaker.
Wait, what?
Levels are at their lowest are down, and pollution is down, Mr. Speaker. Pollution levels are at their lowest level in 25 years, Mr. Speaker.
Pollution levels are at their lowest in 25 years. Is that facts, please?
Speaker, what we've achieved is the equivalent of removing from our roads 69 million
food banks, charitable and donation. Yes and no. Our food banks do receive donations from people, but they also do get, like, you know, like a lot of the food that is about, like, they get the food that's not quite throw-outable from the grocery store. That's what they get. They get the food that isn't quite bad enough to be thrown out, but they can't sell it anymore. That's what the food bank gets.
Cars, less pollutions for Canadians, for our kids, all across the country. We're fighting for climate change. We're fighting for Canadians. We're fighting for a better future for all Canadians, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member from Dufferin-Caledon.
After 9 years of these NDP Liberals, everyone knows taxes are up, costs are up, crime is up, and pretty soon time's going to be up for these corrupt Liberals. We all remember a couple of weeks ago where a brave steel worker confronted the Prime Minister and said taxes are killing him.
That was awesome. When that steel worker was talking to Trudeau, that was great. I loved that. Listening to him just tear Trudeau apart.
And he doesn't believe a single word the Prime Minister has to say. And yet, the NDP keeps propping up this unpopular government. Why? Because their leader wants to keep his pension. Why is this NDP...
That was funny to watch.
Liberal government so intent on raising the carbon tax and reducing workers' pay?
The Honourable Minister for Innovation.
Mr. Speaker, for all the Canadians watching at home, they will know what's up, Mr. Speaker.
We will take no lesson from the Conservative, Mr. Speaker.
It's investment in the future of this country, Mr. Speaker. Under this Liberal government, investment is up in decarbonization to make sure that our steel mill would be productive, to make sure that our steel workers would have a job, to make sure that Canada would win in the economy of the 21st century, Mr. Speaker. Canadians know that what's up is to make sure that this government continues, that we make sure that we invest in them, and we build the Canada of the 21st century.
Yeah! Oh, there's Krista.
That we make sure that we invest in them and we build the Canada of the 21st century.
Yeah! Very good! Yeah!
The Honourable Member from Dufferin-Caledon.
That minister has some nerve to talk about steel. Let me tell you this. I met with steel workers and the steel industry, and they have said if they quadruple the carbon tax like they plan, there will not be a single steel plant left in this country. That's his economic record. That's what he's doing to Canadians. And the carbon tax is not an environmental plan. It's a tax plan that's blowing a $35 billion hole into the Canadian economy every year. Workers are bringing home less, they're paying more. It's time for a change. Why don't they call a carbon tax election and let Canadians decide?
What? They're politicians. They all have soft hands.
The Honourable Minister for Innovation.
Mr. Speaker, I'm happy to talk not only about steel, but about aluminum, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah. Aluminum, Mr. Speaker. I am happy to talk about steel and aluminum, Mr. Speaker, and I will take no lesson from the Conservative, Mr. Speaker, on how to talk like a dirty French whore.
Yeah. Because one thing that Canadian workers not only about steel but about aluminum, Mr. Speaker. Yeah. Because one thing that Canadian workers know is that when it was time to stand up for them, we stood up for them, Mr. Speaker. We just imposed tariff on steel that is coming from China to make sure, Mr. Speaker, that we would protect our industry. We would protect our job. We would protect our future.
Right. Like, listen to her cheering him on.
Mr. Speaker, that we would protect our industry. We would protect our job. We would protect our future. Mr. Speaker, workers across the nation know that we have their back. We will fight for the industry. And
how many slogans did he use in that rebuttal? He stepped up. We have their back.
Always fight for Canada, Mr. Speaker.
Very
the industry.
good.
And always fight for Canada, Mr. Speaker.
Good boy. Good Frenchman. Oh my god, that is so condescending. Holy shit. I know she was trying to be like nice and like a cheerleader, but oh my god. That came across so condescending. Like, good French boy, good doggy. Like, what the fuck? Oh my god.
The Honourable Member for Charlesbourg, Haute-Saint-Charles.
Okay, we're skipping some French now.
Recognized speak government waited too long before
But
the
holy
black up in
fuck.
such a compliment. I was a few
What?
so lazy war on healthcare waitments for me. I'm not to be real action. Expect we will make good progress.
The honourable member from Halliburton, Kawartha Lakes, Brock.
Speaker, after 9 years of the NDP Liberals, taxes are up, cost is up, crime is up, and time is up. Drug addiction and crime have been running rampant under this government. As a direct result of the failed drug policies, this legalized...
Would it really be bad if Miss Cheerleader Voice got hit by a Fukui Mark II? That's too funny.
Legalization experiment overdoses have become the leading cause of death for children in British Columbia. In fact, numerous First Nations in BC are under a state of emergency due to the drug crisis as they try to protect their children. When will the NDP Liberal coalition admit failure and bring home our loved ones drug-free?
Woohoo! Yeah, woohoo! I'm sorry, some of these politicians do not know how to fucking cheer. Woohoo!
The Honourable Minister for Mental Health and Addictions.
Mr. Speaker, our hearts go out to every community that is impacted by the illegal toxic drug supply. And it's nice to hear the Conservatives actually acknowledge that there is a crisis, because when they were in power, they cut the drug treatment fund by more than 2/3, Mr. Speaker. They're not willing to invest. Actions speak louder than words.
I spit in your face, you English. Oh.
Need every level of government involved here to save lives. This side of the House, we've committed over $1 billion to date. We'll continue to do more. When are they going to get on board and work with us?
The honourable member from Halliburton, Kawartha Lakes, Brock.
Speaker, the answer is clear to Canadians, and the NDP Liberal government failed hard drug experiment and save lives. Rather than stemming the tide of overdose deaths, this Prime Minister's radical experiment has flooded our communities with dangerous opioids. It's even worse in BC's First Nations communities, where people are dying at 6 times the national rate. When the NDP...
Wow. 6 times the national rate of death for First Nations. That's crazy.
Liberal coalition and this failed agreement, when will they end it and end this failed policy and save lives?
The Honourable Minister for Mental Health and Addictions.
Mr. Speaker, on this side of the House, we continue to work with every level of government to save lives each and every day. Rather than slogans on the back of a napkin, Mr. Speaker, on this side of the House, we listen to experts, we listen to the communities, we listen to the science.
We listen to the science. Yeah, the science doesn't say hand drugs to drug addicts. That's called enabling behavior. That's not what the science calls for.
Mr. Speaker, on this side of the House, we believe in the health of communities. On that side of the House, they don't believe in science, they don't believe in data, and they don't believe in saving the lives of Canadians.
The Honourable member from King Vaughan.
After 9 years of this NDP Liberal government, taxes are up, costs are up, crime is up, time is up. Mr. Speaker, across this country we are seeing seniors line up to get their groceries from food banks, skipping medication and living in tents. Mary, a senior in Maple, showed me her heating bill. She received $44 worth of gas but paid $46 in carbon tax.
Yep. And then there's the delivery fee. There's the carbon tax, and then there's the delivery fee and gas.
The NDP leader is keeping the Prime Minister in power so he can secure his pension. Why won't the NDP Liberal government call a carbon tax election and let Canadians decide?
The Honourable Minister for Labour and for Seniors.
Mr. Speaker,
What?
I thought we had heard everything in this House, and then I heard the honorable member. That from the party that has stood up in this House and voted no.
Okay.
To every single support that we have brought in for seniors in this country. And that after the Prime Minister for that party, Mr. Harper, went to Davos to the World Economic Forum, where he took that opportunity to tell Canadian seniors back home the retirement age was going up to 67. Shame on them, Mr. Speaker.
Shame on them for doing something 15 years ago.
Okay, hold on a second. Okay, so this is the current bill. So $31.53 was our last bill.
Okay.
Okay.
$31?
Yeah.
Okay.
What am I paying for? Charges for natural gas. Customer charge, $26.85. Delivery to you, 80 cents. Federal carbon charge, $3.97. Gas supply charge, $3.64. Cost, 25 cents. Charges for natural gas, $35. Okay? So, just the charge to me. You know how much gas we used?
$26 worth?
No.
How much?
I swear, I just heard a midget. What are you doing awake? You've been asleep for an hour. 11. Go back to bed. It's okay, we've all done it.
I've done that several times.
We do it all the time, buddy. Here we go. Give me a hug. Next time, ask your silly Alexa. Notice how you're all sweaty? Yeah. Get the blanket off of you or get out of the fleece pajamas. It's 22 degrees in the house. Take off the pajamas or get rid of the fleece blanket. God. Ugh. Is that what it's like hugging me? Okay. But yeah, so on a $30 bill. So the actual gas supply was $3. It's crazy. Yeah, we used a total of 26 cubic meters at 76, less than 3/4 of a cubic meter per day.
That's retarded.
Yeah. Meanwhile, it says that's what we used. Is there that was just the turning the furnace on for those 2 nights?
The honourable member from London Fanshawe.
Lebanese Canadians in my community and across Canada are frightened as the region experiences unprecedented explosions and airstrikes.
Oh no, here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
They've been trying to rebuild Lebanon for years. They don't want a war. This escalation means civilians, including children, seniors, people living with disabilities, vulnerable people pay the price. My constituents are terrified for their friends and families who are caught in the middle. This government needs to be pushing for peace so all those in the region can be safe.
What are they supposed to do? Tell Israel to stop making beeper bombs? You think Israel's gonna listen? What do you think? What the fuck?
Can this government tell us what exactly they're doing to de-escalate the situation and prevent a wider war?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Canada is following closely the situation between Israel and Lebanon, both because of the danger of escalation in the region, but also because the high number of Canadians in Lebanon. As we have said since October, Canadians should avoid all travel to Lebanon, and Canadians in Lebanon should book a commercial flight to leave the country.
And nobody is listening. Let's see.
No country or nation stands to gain from any further escalation. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member from Hamilton Centre.
This Liberal government is allowing the rampant wage theft of truck drivers. Drivers who bring essential goods to Canadians are being taken advantage of because neither Liberals nor the provincial Conservatives have the courage to crack down on shady bosses. Our hardworking truck drivers deserve a government that fights for them, one that ensures they get paid for their work. Mr. Speaker, when will this Liberal government finally enforce the Labour Code to protect vulnerable workers and stop the brazen wage theft?
The Honourable Minister of Labour and for Seniors.
Well, of course, Mr. Speaker, the NDP, had they stayed in on a cooperative basis with us, they would know that we have worked closely with both workers and businesses to find an effective and fair solution to this problem. In fact, earlier this year, we changed the Canada Labour Code to stop employers miscasting employees as independent contractors. And any employer, Mr. Speaker, who knowingly misclassifies an employee to avoid their obligations is breaking the Canada Labour Code and will face consequences.
The honourable member from Scarborough Agincourt.
Mr. Speaker, 750,000 Canadians have already received care through the Canadian Dental Care Plan, and that number will keep rising. Almost 9,900 constituents in my riding of Scarborough Agincourt have enrolled in the program. Many seniors have been able to get dental care after years of not being able to afford to. Can the Minister of Health update this House on how the Canadian Dental Care Plan is helping Canadians access dental care?
The Honourable Minister of Health.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I thank the member for her question and for her relentless advocacy for oral health. The member for Scarborough Agincourt has been such a passion.
Yes, because federal members of Parliament really need to fight for oral health. That's something that's something that's a federal thing.
An advocate for making sure that everybody in this country gets access to the oral health care that they need. And you hear that number, 750,000 people in less than 5 months. That's an incredible number. But in behind that number...
Again with the wow. That guy just can't stop with the wow. Wow. Wow.
Number, folks, are...
Huh? No, he's an English guy.
Real lives, real stories of people who can be proud of their smile, people who are getting oral cancer. I was talking to Dr. Redmond, 3 patients identified with oral cancer that was caught early. Imagine what that means. This is about the kind of country that we live in, making sure that everybody gets care.
Oh, kumbaya.
The honourable member for Louis Saint Laurent. Mr. Speaker, the House isn't in the House. In the whole region, the block forestry gain such air valves who heated meeting
After 9 years.
Oh, good. We've got 14 minutes left.
Member from Calgary, Mindapore.
After 9 years of the NDP Liberals, taxes are up, costs are up, crime is up, and time is up. Canadians are struggling to meet their basic needs, and this government has decided the only solution is to tax Canadians more. This new capital gains tax will add a 30% tax increase on food producers at a time when the cost of food has already skyrocketed.
Oh, yeah. The smaller food producer that doesn't have like giant acres and acres and acres worth of food. If they sell like $250,000 worth of food or more, then they're gonna have to pay but isn't that a business expense? I'm confused now.
The last thing Canadian families need is increased financial stress because of tax on our food supply chains. Why is this NDP Liberal coalition imposing this job-killing tax hike on Canadians?
Great question. Why?
The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance.
Oh boy, here she goes. Here comes Miss Squeaky Voice.
Mr. Speaker, let's be very clear about the facts. In an average given year, only 40,000 individual Canadians have capital gains above $250,000 a year.
So only 40 people in a given year earn more than $250,000 in Canada? Yeah, guess what? You're one of them!
That's 0.13% of our population. And we believe that it makes sense for those with the broadest shoulders to support everyone else. Conservatives can tie themselves in knots, trying to justify policies that are ultimately about austerity and cuts.
There's nothing wrong with austerity.
The honourable member from Calgary-Mindeport.
Well, they certainly gave their uber-rich friends enough time to move their money and are about to give their best friend, carbon tax Carney, $10 billion. Not only will this new capital gains tax increase financial stress, but it will prevent families from transferring wealth to the next generation.
Yup. Because now you can't sell your house and give the kid, like your kids, part of the money or anything like that because it'll get taxed.
The Canadian dream is to build a foundation that you can pass on to your children. The capital gains tax is now increasing the pressures on Canadians as they pass on their wealth, their businesses, and their farms. Why does this NDP Liberal coalition want to kill the Canadian dream?
The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance.
Mr. Speaker, what I want to know is why the Conservatives are so hypocritical and inconsistent.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's where you're gonna start?
There was a conservative who said in 2020, and I quote, "The wealthiest 1% who own the most expensive and luxurious real estate and have in their portfolios the most stocks and bonds and other financial instruments will continue to see their net worth expand, having done nothing, by the way, to deserve that expanded net worth." Who said that? The current conservative.
The honourable member from
Oh, they cut her off. They cut her off. Because she didn't answer anything. They just cut her off.
Nose Hill.
So interesting that the finance minister brought up hypocrisy. Last week, it was revealed that Liberal pseudo-minister Mark Carney's company, Brookfield, is lobbying the government for billions for a new corporate climate fund. But recently, a damning report revealed that Brookfield doesn't account for a whopping 92% of its greenhouse gas emissions that investments create. That's hypocrisy, Mr. Speaker. Can the Environment Minister confirm that he and his NDP Liberal partners won't help wealthy unregistered lobbyist Mark Carney get rich by giving billions in subsidies to his greenwashed company?
The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of Finance.
Mr. Speaker, our government is happy to get advice from Canadians across the country.
Except for ones in the Conservative Party.
Let's talk about who the Conservatives get their advice from. They get advice on the cost of living from a Loblaws lobbyist. They get advice on foreign policy and on Ukraine from Elon Musk and Tucker Carlson. And
they do not get their advice from Elon Musk and Tucker Carlson. What the fuck are you talking about, lady? Yes. She's still on that, yes.
They get advice on women's rights from misogynists and the far right. We will take no lessons from them. That's right.
The honourable member for Canadian
conversation
setting
plan.
Thousand Islands and Rideau Lakes.
After 9 years of these NDP Liberals, taxes are up, costs are up, crime is up, and time is up for this high-flying, jet-setting Prime Minister who's off to New York to
I'm sorry. The honourable member has a voice that carries, but I'm still having difficulty hearing his voice. If I could ask members, please. If I could ask all members, please.
Oh, children, could you please shut up? We need to hear the honourable member.
To have either quiet conversations or so that we can the chair can hear the answer. The honourable member from Leeds Grenville, 1009 Villa Lakes from the top, please.
After 9 years of these NDP Liberals, taxes are up, costs are up, crime is up, and time is up for this jet-setting, high-flying Prime Minister who's off to New York City to dine with elites while doubling costs for Canadians. While he's there, maybe he could check out the $9 million condo that he got for his media buddy, Tom Clark. They could share a coffee from this $5,000 coffee machine or work on their golf swing at the golf simulator paid for by Canadians, and maybe the Prime Minister can save us a couple of bucks and bunk with his buddy, Tom Clark, at this $9 million condo on Billionaires Row.
That's insane. There's a fucking golf simulator. Oh my god. $5,000 coffee maker.
The Honourable Minister for National Defence.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister of Canada undertakes very important work representing Canada at home and abroad. And for example, this week in New York, he has spoken at the
He's on the Late Show. Everyone's calling him out. He's on the Late Show.
The Honourable Minister, I'll invite him to start from the top, please.
The Conservatives might have been more comfortable, Mr. Speaker, if I began with a bad poem. However, the Prime Minister undertakes very important work on behalf of Canada at home and abroad. And for example, this week in New York, Mr. Speaker, not only is he speaking at the United Nations General Assembly, but he's also leading and co-hosting the Summit of the Future, talking about key global challenges on sustainable development, international peace and security, technical innovation, digital coordination, decarbonization and clean energy, and human rights. Now, I do appreciate nobody over there appears to care about any of those things, but they are important to Canadians.
Right. Wow. Did he just say that the Conservatives don't care about human rights? That's pretty,
The honourable member from Brantford Brant.
Mr. Speaker, after 9 years of these NDP Liberals, taxes are up, costs are up, crime is up, and now time is up. Since 2015, violent crime has surged by 50%. Shockingly, sex assaults by 74%. Today, the parole board inexcusably granted day parole to a serial rapist.
Yeah. Yeah. They gave fucking, they were gonna give Picton day parole, but then somebody got mad at him and they took him out.
Who still poses a risk to drug, manipulate, and coerce victims. Let that sink in. This is not keeping Canadians safe. Who on that Liberal bench approves of this?
The Honourable Minister for Public Safety.
How? Right?
Mr. Speaker,
exactly.
my colleague knows very well that the parole board by law operates independently from the government. Our responsibility is to ensure that the appropriate men and women serve on the parole board, something we have done with great seriousness. They know that the most important criteria in terms of an independent decision made by this quasi-judicial tribunal is public safety. My colleague knows that very well, and he should be careful not to increase public cynicism in a way that doesn't serve public safety. He knows very well that's incorrect.
The Honourable Member from Thornhill.
Mr. Speaker,
Oh, yay, Melissa Landsman.
The Honourable Member from Thornhill.
Mr. Speaker, the United Nations is arguing that UNRWA employees who participated in the October 7th terrorist massacre are immune from legal action.
Wait, what? Why?
This is a day which saw
7 Canadians murdered. Let me rephrase that. They're arguing that individuals who contributed to the rape, the murder, and the kidnapping are outside and above the law. So I have a simple question for this government. Do they support immunity for terrorists? Yes or no?
Ooh. Ooh. That is a hard-hitting question.
The Honourable Minister for International Development.
Speaker, Canada is committed to ensuring that our humanitarian assistance aligns with Canadian values and international standards of neutrality. We take any allegations of misconduct very seriously. Upon learning of allegations from UNRWA about some of its staff, Canada was the first country to take action and pause all additional funding pending thorough investigations by the UN Office of Internal Oversight Services and an independent review led by former French Minister Catherine Colonna. But it is very rich, Mr. Speaker, for that member to talk about anything to do with the UN, because she would face down her party that wants to quit the UN. A founding member is in Canada.
Yeah, we should quit the UN. The UN is garbage. The UN hasn't done shit. And there's no penalties for not ratifying any of the treaties that come across the that are made in the UN. Like, nobody has to ratify anything.
The Honourable Member from West Vancouver, Sunshine Coast, Sea to Sky Country.
Mr. Speaker, it's become abundantly clear that the Conservatives would cut the Canadian dental care plan, taking away coverage from 2.4 million Canadians who've already enrolled in the program, with more signing up every day. That's more than 282,000 British Columbians. Will the Minister of Citizen Services please update the House on the work being done by the government?
Softball questions.
The Honourable Minister for Citizen Services.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. And my friend from British Columbia is correct. 2.4 million Canadians currently have their membership card. Over 750,000 Canadians have care. And we are all hearing the good stories of the change that is making in individuals' life. It's making life more affordable. So while Canada is in a position to have the lowest deficit, the best economic forecasted growth, we're investing in making life more affordable with dental care, with child care, with pharmacare, by building more houses, by attacking climate change and making sure that we actually make measures to make Canada's lives better, and we'll continue to do that, Mr. Speaker.
Wow.
And that's oh my god, that was insane. That was some bullshit. That was some straight up bullshit from most of the people in that House of Commons today. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to look for the Stephen Colbert, Justin Trudeau thing, and I'm going to summarize it for everybody tomorrow. But I am going to end here, and I am going to get some sleep, because tomorrow, like I said, tomorrow's going to be a very busy day. I've got content to make for the paid stuff. I've got to stream. I've got to cover the no confidence votes, and of course the Chaos Reign stuff comes out tomorrow. So lots of things to do. So I'm going to go get some rest. Thank you guys for hanging out with me for this whole time. I hope you guys enjoyed yourselves,